This video is a quick overview for the changes for Elemental Shaman and Legion. Elemental's biggest change is the addition of a resource called Maelstrom, which is generated by lightning bolt, lava burst, and chain lightning, and you spend it mostly on your shocks. Each shock depletes a range of Maelstrom, and depending on how much Maelstrom is spent, the power of the shock is increased. With this change, there's also no longer a shared cooldown between your shocks. Because there's no more multi-strike, the mastery is back to being Elemental Overload. This iteration makes your Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, or Lava Burst cast a similar spell that does 75% of the normal damage and 50% of the Maelstrom. Earthquake's name was changed to Earthquake Totem. It is now always instant cast and costs 40 Maelstrom. Other than that, it's the same spell. An Ascendance was no longer baseline and it was moved to your talents. In this video, I'm only going to go over the new talents or the talents that have changed the most. Most of the talents for Elemental Shamans and Legion are new, and they are a lot of fun to play with. Path of Flame makes your Lava Burst deal more damage and spread Flame Shock to another target, and Earth and Rage is a reworked version of the Mastery from Warlords of Draenor. Totem Mastery looks to be the best talent in this row for single target. It is a 30-second cooldown that drops 4 totems around you that each give you a different buff. All of the talents in the 30 row are themed around movement. Gust of Wind is a 15-second cooldown that jumps you forward. Fleet of Foot gives you a movement speed cooldown after you leave Ghost Roll for a few seconds. And Wind Rush Totem is a 2-minute cooldown that gives any ally who passes through it a 60% movement speed for 5 seconds. As you can imagine, this is going to be very powerful in raids. Lightning Surge Totem is a renamed Capacitor Totem, and Voodoo Totem replaces Hex, has a 30-second cooldown, and hexes all enemies within 8 yards of the totem. Elemental Fusion increases the chance that you gain Lava Surge, which is the instant cast Lava Burst proc. And Magnitude makes your Flame Shock targets standing in Earthquake spawn pools of magma at their feet. Lightning Rod gives your spells a chance to mark a target as a Lightning Rod, which makes them take 20% additional damage from nature spells and deal that 20% damage to all enemies within 20 yards. When you cast Storm Elemental, you now get 100% increased Maelstrom generation for 15 seconds. And Aftershock makes your shock spells refund 25% of the Maelstrom you spent on them. Ascendance is in the 100 talent row, and it is the same spell. There isn't a very good place to cast Ascendance in the opener or the rotation that doesn't put you in a situation where you have to either ignore procs or stop spamming Lava Burst. On top of that, you already get a ton of Lava Burst procs during the normal rotation. Ice Fury is a new spell with a 2-second cast, 30-second cooldown, and it generates 30 Maelstrom. After it is cast, you gain a buff that increases the damage of the next 4 Frost Shocks by 400%. This talent is the most complex one of the row, and it looks to be the best for single target. The artifact weapon for Elemental Shamans is the Fist of Ra-Den. The on-use ability you gain from the artifact is Stormkeeper. It is a 1-minute cooldown that causes your next 3 lightning bolts or chain lightnings to deal 200% increased damage. All of the other artifact traits are just passives that increase your damage, but one of the more interesting ones is Power of the Maelstrom. This makes your Lava Burst have a chance to give you a buff that makes your next 3 lightning bolts overload 2 additional times. The new rotation for Elemental Shamans is pretty hectic. Not only do you now have to manage your Maelstrom, you also have to manage a lot of buffs and procs. For both Stormkeeper and Ice Fury, you only have 15 seconds to work your way through all of their buffs. That may seem like a lot of time, but every other Ice Fury lines up with Stormkeeper, and you get a lot of Lava Burst procs asking for your attention, so if you aren't careful you might waste a stack or 2. Echo of the Elements makes your rotation much smoother by giving you a lot of leeway on when you can use your Lava Burst. Overall, I love the new Elemental Shaman. The rotation is very hectic but without being overbearing and is loaded with globals to jump around with. There are a lot of good talent combinations for AoE and single target, and it's been fun thinking of different ways to build. Let me know what you think about Elemental Shaman and Legion, and thank you for watching!